And it's been really fun moving into multifamily. What you guys do in this industry is, as I've gotten to understand it, is just so core and so important to such a huge percentage of our population. And there's a lot of room for innovation in it, I think, as you're seeing here today. I've had a chance to meet with some of you and talk with Patrick about how innovation works. And like he said, coming from the travel business, we have other folks in our company that have come from outside multifamily to figure out how to ideate, organize, and scale innovation in this industry and solve kind of simple things, right? That Envoy stuff's not a simple thing. That's like a big step change type of innovation, but I think a lot of innovations are really simple things. Before I get there, though, I was really disappointed I couldn't get down for the function this morning. I knew I was going to fly in from Seattle until later, and unlike many of you, I did read Patrick's email, and I friggin' love rock t-shirts, right? It's like, so I was so disappointed that I didn't get to participate, so I threw out a couple of mine. There's the Aerosmith in there for you, Patrick. And one of the reasons I like them so much is they're conversation starters, right? I mean, in my town south of Seattle, if you wear the fog hat shirt or the rush shirt to the grocery store, you're going to have some interesting conversations. So hold that thought. Like Mark, I have a prize for the end to keep you interested, and it's a rock trivia question, so be ready for that. And also, because I missed this morning, I didn't get to wear my most polarizing and interesting rock t-shirt that brings on the most conversation. Right? Right? You'd be amazed what happens to you when you walk around in a Bee Gees shirt. You get the smattering of disco sucks, but usually you get people that are like, dude, I love the Bee Gees, Nobody wants to admit it, but we all do. So hold that thought. What we do at CredHub, like he said, is pretty simple, and it's interesting that Patrick's intro was really relevant because we talk a lot about the In-N-Out burger menu at our shop. It's like there's so much stuff that we could go do, but we need to do hamburgers and cheeseburgers, and we need to do them really well. If you want a chicken burger, there's one across the street. And maybe someday we'll do chicken burgers, but not until we really got hamburgers and cheeseburgers right. What we do is really simple. It's credit reporting, rental credit reporting. And you're going to hear me talk about complete reporting because you may have heard, we got started right when FICO started really accepting rent as a lease as a debt obligation like a credit card, auto loan, or a mortgage, and started accepting rent as something that impacts your credit score. And in those days, it was really hard. My agency used to say, you have an audience that's problem aware, not solution aware. Property managers have thin margins and they need to figure out how to monetize the asset better. They have delinquent and they have post-move out collections and bad debt, and they're chasing money around. They want amenities that will keep good renters in the building, but they never thought, hey, credit reporting is a way to do all of that. You'll hear me talk about complete reporting because we have competitors in the space now that are really doing only optional positive only credit reporting. And we do complete reporting. We report in mandatory fashion the whole rent roll, positive and negative, positively impacting the scores of those that are on time and negatively impacting the scores that are delinquent or skipping. Pretty simple stuff, but it's like a win-win-win here, right? I mean, owners and landlords benefit from reduced delinquency, fewer debt obligations, and renters obviously benefit from positive credit scores. I think a lot of founders have been developing innovations in my career for a long time outside of multifamily. And one of the things I found is sort of founders and innovators usually have a founder's story, and it's usually pretty simple and something that happened to them. One example would be a company in Seattle that I worked for between Expedia and Alaska Airlines called Concur. And the founder story was very simple. You might have used Concur. It's expense reporting software. The founder, Steve Singh, who's still in Seattle, was selling a technology company, or he was taking it public, I don't remember which, and he spent 6 months on the road constantly pitching this business. And he ended up with a briefcase full of stupid receipts. And he's like, this has just got to be a better way. Develops Concur, builds it, scales it, sells it for $8 billion to SAP. So from the smallest personal experience came this sort of game-changing idea. So before I get to my founder story on this one, this is where we came from. Like Patrick said, I led AlaskaAir.com through the e-commerce evolution. Many of you probably have flown Alaska. You may not know that Alaska was the first domestic U.S. carrier to book tickets over the internet. And it was kind of the same kind of simple stuff. It's not always technology, it's process and thinking about things differently. I think the key mix for me and for others that have been doing this is getting innovators in a room with industry vets and kind of like asking tough questions on, why is it this way? Like, why when you go to the airport do you stare at the top of someone's head for 5 minutes while they type God knows what into that thing? How come we can't just turn the screen around? We all browsers now. Alaska Airlines was the worldwide inventor of web check-in to print your boarding pass from home or office. That one was pretty easy. It was like, how come we can't have people check in at home and just come and go through security? Well, FAA will never allow that. Did anybody ever ask them that? Turns out they did. So we ended up with mobile check-in and wireless check-in and all the like. So we came from different industries. That Chris is my business partner. He's our chief of stuff. He had a big exit from Zero in Seattle, that $5.8 billion one, kind of like Concur. And moving into like life after our industries, and I was looking for something that my personal mantra was learning and giving. I wanted to do something outside of travel and learn something new, and I felt like I wanted to do something where I was making people's lives better. At Expedia, my job was to get you to click on us instead of Priceline, right? And my job was to make investors richer. But I didn't really have a connection to helping people make their lives better. And this all came at a time when we're starting to experience income divide in this country. This is pre-pandemic, so it got a whole lot worse. But I bumped into my founder's story. The guy on the right's my son, Ben. At the time, 4 or 5 years ago, he was a sophomore at the University of Washington. The apple doesn't fall from the tree. Note the Rush t-shirt. He was going off to study in France, and I wanted to get him a credit card because I wanted him to have that for, risk. It made me feel better. And we went bank to bank to bank, and he just couldn't get one because he was credit invisible. It's a guy then working at Starbucks, paying high-priced Seattle-based university rent, and he was invisible to the credit bureaus. The answer was a flat no. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. And then you start digging into this a little bit, and all the folks that are renting and stuck, and they can't get out of this financial spin. Their credit score is low. It's not being improved by their biggest monthly payment by far. Sometimes more than half their income is their rent, and they're getting no credit for it. So we wanted to solve that. And again, I think the magic sauce in innovation is you take folks from outside the business that understand how to apply technology, and we hired people from within the industry. So we hired folks that were professionals in property management to come in and help us ideate on this problem. And as a result, we started helping renters. This is a real CredHub customer. She knew she was getting the service, called us immediately and said, nothing's happened. We were like, She was using Credit Karma. And let us take a look at your next credit report. And 14 days later, we had dragged her out of the red and into the blue, and she was very, very excited. But a moment on complete reporting. This is sort of what we uniquely do and stand for, and I'll talk in a minute why we believe the industry really needs to be doing complete reporting, not opt-in, positive-only reporting. I think what kind of sets us apart is that we are a mandatory program. Our core program is mandatory, and we report the whole flat profile, positive and negative. That is hard to do at scale, and it comes with our requirement to deliver a lot of service. I think it was Eric at the Envoy was talking about the support and taking on all the questions. You guys aren't credit experts. You're not FICO experts. You don't have the lawyers that understand the Fair Credit Reporting Act or the state-by-state regulations. We take on all of that. The difference here, though, is your delinquency gets cut in half. It's sort of not fair, really. Can you really only have your mortgage payment impact your credit score if you pay it on time, and nothing happens if you don't? So we have found customers that implement our program and with our help, market it correctly, see at least a 50% reduction in delinquency. And the other is the revenue opportunity. Those opt-in programs, as far as I know, can be single-digit percentage take rate. So if you're using this as an amenity that you're marking up, and all of our customers do that, you're getting 9% of the opportunity. You're going to get 100% of it in this mandatory program. This is a little bit of an eye chart, but it's a real example. This is about a 2,300 resident building property here. And you can see Really, basically, by signing us up and letting us get to work, they are bringing in about $160K in just pure profit per year, and their delinquency's gone from 6% to 3.3%. Stuff works. So a little bit of an eye chart on how it works. Kind of simple to describe, but hard to do and do right and do at scale and support. We have great relationships with the 3 credit bureaus. I often say it took about 10 years off my life. Very bureaucratic, slow-moving organizations, but my data's in there too, and so is yours. So every time I get angry, I think, well, they're being really careful with my data. Then we engage with the property manager. We automatically, on the date they want, regardless of the rent rule, we pull the data out. We transform it. We play it back to the property manager. And the reason we do all this, because we're doing late and skip payments and negatively impacting a segment of the resident base, the on-site property manager usually wants to review that and make sure it's correct. And I have a little bit of a video, but I don't think we're going to have time to show it. It's 10 minutes a month at most. The property manager, whoever's in charge, gets an email, says your data is ready to review, please do it inside of 7 days. They can see all their delinquencies, they can check it, confirm and submit. When they hit confirm and submit, it comes into our system, we repurpose it. We actually have a great relationship with Allstate, so we sell ID theft protection as well. So we repurpose it to the credit bureaus, and we repurpose those that have signed up for Allstate to Allstate. And that's when the fun begins. We have account managers helping, and we take all of the resident inquiries. Usually it's, who are you? Why aren't you in my credit report? Oh, I didn't know I was getting this service. I would say a vast majority of the time it's somebody lying to you and then also trying to lie to us. And property managers love us for that. It's like, yeah, no, they owe me money. Please keep reporting them. And so the system works on a monthly basis to help us drive down delinquency. That. So why does the industry need complete reporting? Like I said earlier, why would well, here's an example. Equifax is rolling out rent in Canada, and we're working with them to be one of their really early customers, and they can't believe the U.S. is even allowing opt-in positive only because that's, quote, not fair. Very Canadian. And so we'll be one of the only ones that are reporting there because you shouldn't be able to just do the positive and not the negative. It's legal. That's a letter from Oscar Marquis. He's the former chief counsel of TransUnion, and we have him on retainer, and he's fully looked at this. There are state requirements to keep up with. That's California Senate Bill 1157. If you're in California, you might know it. If you're taking HUD Section 8 assistance, you're required to offer credit reporting to those. We can help you become compliant with that. And sort of the last statement is post-move out collections. That data stays, it's in your Appfolio or your rent manager or whatnot. So when someone moves out, we keep reporting them until they come back and pay you. And this is a real customer look at the size of those outstanding receivables and when their last payment was. It stays on there month to month to month until they go resolve this debt. So you could send this to collections and get maybe 25% of that paid back to you. We get the calls from these folks that are trying to get a mortgage or a car, and they're just like, I got to get this off my credit report. How do I pay you? And like, well, you got to go pay who you owe. We're not the collections agency here. Those are fun calls. We know how to implement and manage this. I'll skip through this as well. It can be hard to roll this out if you don't know what you're doing. We've done it hundreds of times. So we have, like Envoy, we have all the marketing collateral. We know how to do this. We take it for you. And then, okay, this is the video. Let's skip that. Quick testimonials, but this is what I really like about this is this customer, it takes me 10 minutes. This customer, it's value-added for everybody. And this customer, it's great in my resident rewards packages. We're in all kinds of these. The credit reporting, if you're looking at or thinking about implementing a resident rewards package, the credit reporting and the ID theft are great features in that. All right, so back to the rock theme real quickly. I think, Patrick, you said at the beginning, a company is a collection of people. I've totally believed that. This is my team at our offsite. We did it at a rock studio. Great environment to do a team meeting. It's very collaborative. And then the fun team builder we had wasn't falling off a ladder. We recorded a song together. So our guy taught anybody that wanted to play a uke or a banger or a clanger, and we did Taking Care of Business. by BTO, and that's us singing there at the end. But our vision is to empower our residents, our property managers, our owners, really our community for a better financial future. There's so much more we can do, and we're just getting started. The prize, you know more about me and my son Ben than you ever thought you needed to. We're also huge Godzilla nerds. So I ask, which of these bands on the left is most associated with the Godzilla on the right? Anybody? Blue Oyster Cult. Yes! Well done. You get a rock t-shirt. Thank you very much. You can find me later.